Hey guys, it's Miss Simmons again. I am here giving you another lesson. Today is drip day, so you can wear your favorite accessories, whether it's a hat, whether it's your cat ears like me, your favorite earrings, or whatever you want. So go ahead and drip on, baby. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started with the PDN. If you have not completed the PDN, go ahead and pause this video and you can go ahead and complete it. If you have completed the PDN already, you're just going to go ahead and keep rolling. So let's read the directions. Read each sentence and write an S for simile and an M for metaphor or an N for neither. So each sentence is either going to have a simile, a metaphor, or neither, okay? Let's go to number 1. His legs were as skinny as toothpicks. I know that here they're comparing his legs to toothpicks, and they use the word as, so this is a simile. Good. Number 2, Fiona trudged like the soles of her shoes were stuck to the floor. Even though they use the word like, they're not really comparing her shoes to anything. And this is really not a metaphor. They're not comparing two things. So this is actually neither. Okay. I'm getting pretty good at this whole little pen thing. Number 3, Mr. Donovan is a great big barrel of a man. So it looks like they're comparing Mr. Donovan to like a barrel or something, right? And they're not using the words like or as, so this must be a metaphor. Okay. Number 4, Miss Kitty's fingers scampered up and down the keyboard. Not really comparing her fingers to anything, they're just saying what she did. So this is actually neither. It's not a simile or a metaphor. Okay. Number 5, Elaine's eyes sparkled like diamonds in the sun. So I see the word like, and it tells me that they're comparing her eyes to diamonds. This must be a simile. Okay, let's go ahead and continue. Mr. Cooper's voice. Sorry, let's go back to my handy dandy pen. Okay. Mr. Cooper's voice affected me like fingernails on a chalkboard. So they're comparing his voice to like fingernails on a chalkboard. I see the word like, and it is a simile. Good. 7, she kept scratching her head like a dog with fleas. That's not good. So they're comparing her scratching her head to a dog with fleas, and they use the word like. This must be a simile. 8, when she told a story, it was like she was casting a spell. So we have a lot of similes here. They're comparing her telling a story to casting a spell, and they use the word like. This is a simile. Good. Number 9, she's a maestro. Maestro. I kind of got stuck there. Sorry, guys. She's a maestro in the kitchen. They're basically saying that she's good in the kitchen. She could cook. But they're not comparing her to anything, right? With like or as, but they're comparing her to being a maestro in the kitchen. So this is a metaphor. Number 10, the toddler was a ray of sunshine in the room. They're comparing the toddler to being a ray of sunshine, meaning that he was like really nice and comforting. So this must be a metaphor because they're not using the words like or as. Number 11, the kids came through the house like a herd of buffalo. I see the word like. This must be a simile. Number 12, Mrs. Sullivan's students were as quiet as mice. I would like that. I see the word as. This is a simile. Good. The kids were a troop of monkeys on the playground. So we're not using like or as, but we are comparing the kids to monkeys. So this is a metaphor. Good. Okay, guys. So let's go ahead and continue with our vocab work. And remember, guys, if any time that I am going too fast, you can always just stop, pause the video so that you can catch up. Okay, so let's review. We know that a prefix is an affix placed at the beginning of a word, right? And then we know that the root word is a word that does not have a prefix or a suffix added. Okay, now let's go ahead and learn the new prefix that we're talking about today. So the new prefix that we're learning is dis, right? Dis is our prefix, and then respect is our root word. Okay, now we know that prefixes all have a meaning. Dis just simply means not. It's sometimes prefixes are going to have the same meaning. So remember un, right? Un means not, and so does dis, right? And then respect means to not show kindness. Okay, and I'm going to kind of move that up so that my box can come back. So when we put those two things together, the prefix and the root word, it becomes the word disrespect, and it's a new word. So the new definition is to not show kindness. Okay, so let's go ahead and write a sentence. You can either use my sentence or you could create your own sentence. Miss Simmons did not like the disrespect that was shown to her. Okay, good. All right, so let's think of some synonyms and antonyms for disrespect. So for disrespect, when I think about the synonyms for disrespect, I would say what? Like to be mean, right? Or rude, to be rude to someone, or mean, right? Antonyms, to be nice, kind, right? Good. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and look at our picture. Look at what's happening. It looks like the older lady, the elderly lady, is entering into the room, and then there are three gentlemen that are sitting down. So how do you know that the men are disrespecting the elderly woman? Go ahead and take 20 seconds to think on your own. Okay, so while I go ahead and, I don't know why this keeps happening. Okay. So while I go ahead and take away these lines so I could write in. All right, so I know like the men are being, sorry guys, the men are being disrespecting the woman because usually when older women or even women come into a room, men or boys are supposed to stand up and give them their seat, right? So it looks like, and then she has a cane, it looks like she could barely stand, and they're still sitting down. So that shows that they're disrespecting her, right? Because the men are not offering to give their seat to the elderly woman. Okay. All right, good. So let's go ahead and keep moving along. We're at our board equals paper. So you guys know that we're still working on figurative language. So let's just review it really quickly. Figurative language is when poets use words to express their thoughts in a more creative way. There are how many types? Good, 6 types of figurative language. Excellent. When the author gives, I'm sorry guys. So today what have we gone over? We've gone over similes, metaphors, alliteration, onomatopoeia. Now we're going over the last 2 types of figurative language, personification and hyperbole. Personification, I like to use like a almost like a clue, right? Which is person, right? That is my clue word, person in personification. Personification is when the author gives human traits to a non-living object, okay? So that's why I highlighted person, because as people, we are humans, right? Personification is when the author is going to give a human trait to something that is non-human or non-living. Here are some examples that I included. The alarm clock danced 5 times, right? Danced is the actual personification because an alarm clock cannot dance, right? That's only something that humans can do. Great readers, we always ask what is the object and what is the human trait. So here, guys, let me go back to my draw so I can show you what I'm talking about. So here, the alarm clock would be the object, right? And then danced would be the human trait, okay? So we know that this is personification because an alarm clock cannot dance. And then here, the sun waved goodbye on the setting horizon. What is the object? The object is the sun, right? What is the human trait? The human trait is waved. A sun cannot wave, like, no. So that is the human trait, okay? All right, good. Like personification can be a little tricky, so this is why you want to think in your mind, like what is the object? What is the human trait? Then it says the teapot sang a happy tune at the hot water as the hot water was ready, right? The teapot is the object, sang is the human trait, okay? Then the wind hit me in my face as I walked outside. The wind would be the object and hit, of course, would be the human trait. So that's personification, when the author gives human traits to a non-living object. Now, let's go down to hyperbole. This is one of my favorites. Hyperbole is what a lot of you guys like to do. You like to exaggerate, right? So hyperbole is an exaggeration or an overstatement that the author uses to create imagery. You're using this to create like a strong point, okay? Now, let's go through some of the examples. Dakota was so hungry she could eat a lion. Like, Dakota, of course, is not going to eat a lion. Like, that's impossible. But I'm using this exaggeration to tell you how hungry Dakota was, right? Ashley called me 80 times last night asking me for help. Of course, it's impossible for someone to call you 80 times, right? But I'm telling you that she called 80 times to exaggerate the fact that she was calling me a lot, right? Then it says Deshaun died laughing when he saw Mr. Wrencher trying to do the D-Lo shuffle. So, of course, Deshaun didn't actually die from laughing, right? But it's telling you how hard he was cracking up when Mr. Wrencher was trying to do this dance, right? So hyperbole is pretty much like an exaggeration of the truth. It's not going to really happen, but you use it in order to express a strong point, okay? So let's go ahead and use it in context. Now we're going to go to our model, okay? So here, guys, it actually involves simile and metaphor because we always want to make sure that we're going back to the things that we've learned before. So the directions read the lines below and determine the figurative language being used in the line. Use the word bank to help you, okay? So I'm going to go back to my draw, my little pen. Okay, now the snow laid a thick blanket over the grass. So snow is an object, right? It's not human, but it said that it actually laid a blanket. Snow cannot really lay a blanket, right? So in my mind, this must be personification because it's telling me that it laid a blanket over the grass, but it's really saying how thick the snow was, right? Snow can't actually lay a blanket. That's a human trait. Now, number 2, Lorenzo is a beast when it comes to reading books. Whoa, they're comparing Lorenzo to a beast, right? But they're not saying that he, they're not saying that, actually, so I thought that this was actually a metaphor, but in my mind, this would be a hyperbole because they're exaggerating on how many books Lorenzo reads. So this would be a hyperbole, okay? Because Lorenzo can't actually be a beast. Or are you? Number 3. Malik is as hungry as a hippo when it's breakfast. So I know anytime I see the words as, it's comparing Malik to a hippo. This is a simile, okay? Number 4, Miss Fabi drops rhymes like Lil Wayne. Y'all didn't know Miss Fabi could rap, but she got some rhymes, right? So it's actually comparing her rapping to Lil Wayne by using the word like, So this is a simile. Number 5.